Hello, boys, babes, and all of you beans in between. Welcome back to All the Blocks, a series where you'll give me random block pallets and I have to use them to make a build. The rules of the series are 1. I'm given 3 to 5 blocks. 2. One of them must be able to craft into stairs and slabs of its variety, like stone, can be crafted into stone stairs, but not stone brick or stone brick stairs. Terraforming after the fact does not count towards the block palette. On that note, though, the block palette given to me today was given to me by one of my mods, Ashlyn. Now, she found this one quite fun, and I found myself quite inspired by it. So, without further ado, here's our blocks. Soul sand, shroom lights, cyan terracotta, packed mud, and bamboo planks. Let's see what I can do. So I will admit, one of the biggest things with these builds is being able to sit down and realize that you gotta be able to fit it in the environment. It's not just a matter of like, oh, it's gonna sit there and I flatten the entire area, so now it's just on top of it. It's a matter of making sure the area around you looks like your build's gonna go in it and makes sense where it is. So that's always one of the things I start with, is making sure I have a canvas, but not a blank canvas. The environment needs to make sure it looks like it belongs there, and I think that makes the biggest difference in how your build looks when you walk away from it after the initial build. And from there, it gets so much easier. The biggest part, though, now is the block palette. So, with the soul sand and, soul soil, the packed mud, the cyan terracotta, the bamboo, and the shroom lights, you are able to come up with whatever you can come up with. The problem with looking at this, it didn't look like it belonged in a house. And so that's where I was initially stumped, looking at it and going, okay, how do I make this organic? None of these are trees. While bamboo is a wood type, it's not a tree. It doesn't have that nice smooth texture that the wood does, but the cyan doesn't have enough texture to be a wood. And then the packed mud, it's this weird gravelly looking texture, which isn't a bad thing, but it's a very specific texture. I can talk. But as you can tell, you end up with weird little things of playing the game of, okay, how do I mix this? And none of these worked well for a house, be it modern or be it a Victorian, at least in the design that I was coming up with. So I went to Pinterest. Pinterest is my safe haven and how I find all sorts of weird things. And I stumbled upon this really cool art piece that was a mushroom-esque sci-fi fantasy looking build, but the mushroom held your base. And so from there I was like, okay, how do I play with this? And we started playing with the block palette, and then pretty quickly I came up with this thing, which is this mushroom structure holding on to this weird little moon-shaped piece, which I thought was pretty nifty, in all honesty. It still gave you a structure beneath that you can work with and live inside of, while the upper part is eye-catching and interesting to look at, but while not being too big. Overall, this entire build fits within a 2x2 chunk space, not really coming over about, oh gosh, what was the height? Probably closer to 30 to 40 blocks at the max. Like, this is a simple, easy thing that you can expand off of and do other builds similarly that match in style and texture while not being the same. Like, this is hard to replicate unless you are literally copying block by block, which is super fun because you end up with this strange, unique, but quick and easy. Alrighty, folks, what do you think of this? Personally, I did not think this was what I was going to come up with. I initially was looking for like a house build, something like that. But then I found myself also digging back through some old Pinterest posts I had pinned along the way of builds I wanted to do one day. And one of them just resonated with me in such a way that this came out of it. Mind you, it's not identical in the concept of the image, but it is very similar in form of inspiration and what like structure I came up with. So I really like this. I honestly was very happy with putting it in the mushroom biome. It feels like it belongs here. Obviously going to still do a little bit of terraforming, make it look like it belongs here even more, but I really think that it came out well. It is perfectly usable as like a starter base. Mind you, these blocks are mostly achievable as a starter base, but mud's kind of expensive and a little bit of a pain to get, but doable. Bamboo in particular, easy to get. The terracotta, cyan's a little bit of a pain. And then the soul soil and the shroom lights, yep. So soil and shroom lights are a little bit more of a challenge, even more so, but not unattainable as a starter build to begin with, for sure. But I absolutely love this thing. I think it'd be a super cool, like, you have a village of houses and places like this that you work out of. These stairs could be better, but this is what I came up with pretty quickly. I think the total build time for me designing this was about an hour and a half, which, all things considered, not terrible at all. I definitely want to do a little terraforming real quick, and we'll definitely recap after we get that done. But let's see how else I can incorporate this in the build and make it feel a little more at home, but still not changing this initial build, just the stuff around it to make it feel like it belongs. Let's get started. We got a guest in the process, but I did some little tidying up. I added some things around, obviously. Still got some room to do things, but I honestly felt like it was best suited with just adding a couple more, like, weird, wonky mushrooms that were starting to grow around it. I didn't really feel like adding much more than this block and these lovely end rods. I should know these things, and mud bricks, just to add a little extra around. Honestly, the build itself speaks for itself in its own variety, and I think the little baby mushrooms everywhere make it absolutely adorable. Though honestly, we could do something like, hold on, this over here, grab some sugar cane, make a little garden maybe. I typically would try and do this off camera, but I had that idea just as I was speaking, so I was like, I gotta do this. But yeah, doing something like this would give you a little extra greenery. How can I I didn't know you could place it taller than 4, but we're not going to do taller than 4. I don't want it to be too tall. But having something like this that just kind of adds a little bit of life, a little bit of green, doing stuff like that makes all the difference. Because now when you stand at the entrance and you're about to walk in, it's like, oh, there's green over there. What's that? Oh, it's sugarcane. This house is productive. Dude, that's my roof. Get down. This is just rude. But I think, honestly, outside of doing interior, which I didn't really want to put the time into personally, but it's not hard with this, honestly. Should I say that now? Let's do some interior. But one of the quick things I like to do with it, just something like this, has... Oh, good heavens, I can type. This has the lovely ability of being with all these nooks and crannies. It's super easy to pop in things like barrels. Whoop. And then, oh, there's an extra thing up here. You just grab a crafting table and stick that up. Or you do something like, oh, we've got this little corner here. It is a 6. Super easy thing to do would be to take out this chunk of the floor. Put in barrels. Grab some hoppers. Put those hoppers facing into said barrels. Grab furnaces. More hoppers on top. And boom, you've got a semi-automatic furnace system here. Nice and tucked away. Doesn't take up much space. And all you have to do is come back here, put what you need in, add some extra fuel, pick up what you need from the bottom. Pretty smooth, pretty simple, pretty easy. And even if you don't want it to be barrels on all sides, you can pop down here. Whoop, not quite what I meant to do. Make all of your hoppers flow one direction. And easy enough. Whoop, easy enough. One barrel takes up less space, and then you still got this. And if you wanted to make it so that it's even faster, more automated up here, you could expand this outer part so it fits it better. But I like it being a little bit sealed off, closed off. Whoop, whoop. Yep, there we go. So that you can have that movability, and then you can do more with it. But that's like the super quick and easy, oh, my interior is now functional, and it doesn't look terrible. But those are like my big quick things with this. It'd be a lot of fun to like add more little mushroom bits coming off of here. But I think this does well to serve as its quick early game spot to work with and do things with. And it's conveniently next to this ocean monument and a broken portal. This is still in the same world as my other one. It's just a little further off and in a biome that I wanted to build in. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you coming and hanging out. This has been an absolute blast. I always enjoy getting a good little build in and doing things like this because it helps to prove that you can do anything with the blocks you're given. Just gotta think a little bit outside of the block. Am I right? I will see myself out. Have a lovely day, folks, and I will catch you all next time. Bye now.